Hello. You all right? Hello. How are we doing? Nice, big, confident hello there. Everyone looking forward to Christmas? Few yeses, few nos. Yeah. Tonight I walked through the German market. Everyone loves the German market, don't they? No, they got them everywhere. Yeah, the pensioners don't like them either. I saw a few wandering around, walking around, just going, who won the fucking war anyway? No, but what they should do, they should have a British market over in Frankfurt. So they fucking like it, shouldn't they? We could do that. We could have an old lady selling net curtains by the yard. Some fat bloke selling 5 lighters for £1. They'll fucking love it. And for extra authenticity, we can send some experts over to recreate that British market aroma of cabbage, fish and piss. And weed. And despair. I'm not a big fan of Christmas. I never got what I wanted when I was a little lad. There was one... Oh, thank you, mate. There was one time when I got what I wanted because I was begging for a pair of Adidas torsion trainers. You remember them? I think they've come back now. Like, the normal trainers were about 40 quid dearer, and they've got like a rubber bar in the sole, which Adidas claimed aided balance and grip, but also made it nigh on impossible to get dog shit off them. There was me mum Boxing Day morning, teasing out the feces with a cocktail stick, heaving. She went absolutely mental. Not because of that, she had underlying psychological problems. I don't know why I mentioned it, to be honest with you. Bit of an overview. I'm 40 years of age and I'm a bit of an idiot. All right, I'll give you an example. I was just pottering about the other day, minding my own business, and I sort of turned round and I thought someone or something was going to hit me in the face. So I let out a little, ah! And it was just my fringe falling in front of my eyes. I'm an idiot. I'm a child at heart, though. I'm a child at heart. I say I'm a child, I'm immature, I think is a better way of putting it. I was on the internet the other day, right? I was reading a couple of stories, and 2 stories caught my eye, right? The first one was about this study, how they've worked out that breasts have increased 3 cup sizes since the 1950s. And I read another story where scientists have identified that there's a meteorite heading towards Earth in the next 40 years could hit planet Earth and wipe out a third of humanity. I read those 2 stories and all I could think was, good news about the tits though, isn't it? Thank you. I caught the train here this evening, no problems, everything was fine, which is unusual because when I get on the train, something always weird happens. The situation that stuck out in my mind was the time I was going to work. It was about 6:30 in the morning, and there was just one other man on the carriage. But he was having a wank. So he was. Bold as brass, he was just tugging away, right? And that wasn't even the worst. I thought I recognised you. You had a guilty look in your face there, mate. But that wasn't even the worst part about it, because when I went downstairs to report the incident, right, the man in the booth never said anything that you'd expect, like, oh, we at West Midlands Railway have a strict zero-tolerance policy on such behaviour. Or, rest assured, sir, we'll do everything in our power to catch these deviants. He never said any of that. He just looked at the clock at the wall and went, at this time of day? Not what I wanted to hear, and did very strongly imply there's an acceptable time of day to masturbate on public transport. Let me know when it is, mate. I'll buy a ticket tomorrow. I'll buy the Wanker Super Saver return. I could come before I arrive. So, yeah, no, I got here. And it's a pleasure to be here. It really is. I genuinely mean that. Because I'm a father of a 4-year-old, and I also have a dog. So it's nice to be out of the house without having to take a small, irritating creature for a shit, to be honest with you. This is my life now, and it's not made any easier by the fact I've got one of these little fluffy yappy dogs. I've got a breed called a Lhasa Apso. Does anyone know what that is? Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced it is a dog, if I'm honest. It's more like a sort of high-functioning otter. And it's adorable, don't get me wrong, but it does tend to wind people up. I was walking it the once, and it was doing its dirty business, as dogs do. And this man drives past and shouts out his window, "Oi, mate! Your dog's fucking gay!" Bit aggressive, but I appreciated the mate. And I didn't know what to say at the time. I remember thinking, if that man could determine the sexuality of an animal based solely on how it defecates, then he's fucking wasted an ice cream, man. And then I got to take my daughter to the toilet when we're out and about, and I don't like that either, right? Because I just got to stand there and watch her little poo face. And the reason I don't like it, it's the only time she looks like me. And I'm worried my wife's going to work out that she's married a man who looks like a shitting toddler. That works both ways, by the way, because one of the very specific things I've learned being a married father of one is that the expression on my wife's face when she gives me a hand job is pretty much the same one she's got when she's foot pumping up the kids' paddling pool. It's that look of exhaustion and boredom, tinged with relief that she's not using her mouth. Now, to be fair to my wife, I love my wife to bits, and to be fair to her, I knew she was the one from our very first date, and not many people can say that, but I knew. I took her over this nice big slap-up dinner, right? I was about to pay up, and she insisted that we go Dutch, which I thought was very modern, very kind. Maybe she's the one. So we split the bill, and then we smoked some really strong weed and hired a prostitute. It's a cracking night, best first date ever, to be honest with you. I've always been very cautious of the whole marriage thing. It's a surprise I'm even married at all, really, because when I was a kid, there was this couple that lived on our road, and they were blissfully happy for about 40 years, until one fateful day, they were doing a bit of gardening. She was tending to the flower beds. He was up a ladder, trimming the edge, and he took a tumble and he fell. And on the way down, he cut her head off. And the whole neighbourhood was devastated and shocked, right? So how's that poor man going to cope with that? And then I grew up, I kind of forgot about it. Then I got married, and after the first week, I thought, he did that on fucking purpose, didn't he? He knew what he was doing. Man's a genius. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure he went through the motions, like, you know, he cried at the funeral and consoled his grown-up kids, but mark my words, as soon as he got in, he pulled off his tie, poured himself a nice large scotch, and raised a toast to his big, massive, overgrown hedge. Before using his wedding photo as a coaster. Because that's what blokes are like. Blokes, we love that bit of freedom, don't we? I mean, look at Paul McCartney, bless him, right? I mean, no doubt that he was devastated when Linda died, but I still get the impression that he treated himself to a nice bacon sandwich when it happened. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I want my wife dead, by the way. Let's just get that clear. I love her to bits. That's true. And I am the silver lining. No, I love her to bits. I don't want her dead. But I was watching The Shining the other day, and I found myself cheering him on. It's not a good sign, is it? I'm not one of these blokes who compare marriage to a prison sentence. You know, the ball and chain and all that stuff. That comparison doesn't hold up for me. I mean, I've never been to prison, but as far as I can tell, you're rewarded for good behaviour. You get a hot meal cooked every night. And let's face it, there's a better chance of anal, isn't there? No, but all couples have their problems. Doesn't matter who you are, right? Any couples in? There's not one single couple here. You're all couples. Have you had your problems? It's not been plain sailing. There's ups and downs, there's peaks and troughs, isn't there? And you're in good company, right? Doesn't matter who you are, right? Look at Jay-Z and Beyonce, okay? You're Beyonce, you're Jay-Z, right? Let's just say that for argument's sake, right? They've got everything. They've got the world. And they were the golden couple at one stage. You know, but they've had their struggles. And I can see why, because Jay-Z was a man who once said, he's got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Now, I would argue, if you're referring to your partner as a bitch, let's face it, Jay, you got a nice round 100 problems there, kid. And if you factor in the misogynistic lyrics, that's 101. And if you factor in his rather dubious use of grammar, which I fucking do, by the way, he's got 102 problems. So that track should be called, I've got 102 problems, but I'm trying my best. I think my wife and I, we're very much in love, and we're very much a partnership, but I think we're always a bit odds to some degree, because we're from two very different backgrounds. See, I'm from a council estate in Birmingham, and she's from a very nice middle-class upbringing in Stratford-upon-Avon. Now, Stratford-upon-Avon is a nice place, right? I mean, it's too nice for the likes of me. And I'd argue, you. No. But it's a nice place. One of them, well, one criticism of Stratford-on-Avon, right? It's a lovely place, but one criticism of it is that it's not the most diverse place in the world. I think the only time you're guaranteed to see a black guy in Stratford if you had tickets to see Othello at the RSC. And even then, it's probably a blacked up Patrick Stewart. But you can tell it's a nice place, right? Because even the council flats are posh. And you can tell they're posh because the piss in the lift smells of asparagus. Such a class. But one of the things that happens to me when we're having an argument and my wife's losing, which is a rarity, right? She'll take the piss out of my Brummie accent, right? And wherever I go, people give me stick for the way I talk. And even if they don't know I'm from Birmingham, they just assume I'm a brain-injured Australian or something. I don't know. And it used to wind me up until recently, when I heard the Brummie accent coming out of the mouth of a pilot. And I'll be honest, I fucking shit myself. We're preparing to take off, and, the PA come to life. And usually you hear a sort of educated-sounding home counties posh voice, don't you? And we're sort of socially conditioned to seek reassurance from that. We didn't get that. We got this. Good morning, everybody. This is your pilot speaking. My name is Terry, but you can call me Tezza. Today we were flying at an altitude of quite high. But I'll tell you what I'll do, on the way down I'll try not to eat any chimneys, all right. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight to Fuerteventura. Now, far be it from me to judge someone's abilities based on their dialect, but we were supposed to be going to Prague. Another thing my wife says to me when we're arguing, she says, the older you get, the more and more you're becoming like your father. And she may have a point, actually, because he too was a grumpy sod, and I too no longer find my mother sexually attractive. I said no longer. I used to. She looked like Debbie Harry. She was fine. No, but my dad was a good bloke, but he was very old-fashioned. He was a proper salt-of-the-earth working-class bloke, very working-class, right? And I'll give you an example, right? Once he was in my bedroom and he found some weed hidden under a newspaper in my bedroom, right? And he went absolutely ballistic. Give me a hiding, grounded me for like a month. And it wasn't because of the weed, it was because the newspaper was independent on Sunday. I went downstairs to apologise, found him in the garden smoking my spliff. Just looked at me. It's the Daily Mirror, fuck all in this house, son. And there was another time as well, he found some cigarettes in my school bag. Again, went ballistic. Took me downstairs, marched me into the kitchen, plonked 20 Benson Hedges cigarettes in front of me. He said, you're not going anywhere till you smoked every single one of them. And all I could think was, like, fuck, I didn't find them condoms. But by far the worst time, and I hope I can share this with you, Liverpool, by far the worst time was, I was about 14, I thought no one was in the house, I thought the coast was clear, and I decided to entertain myself the way 14-year-old boys do. You know what I'm talking about. You definitely know what I'm talking about, right? So there I was enjoying myself, right? I don't want to be too explicit, but I was. And my dad burst in, he caught me in the act. And I've never been so ashamed in all my days. And I'll never forget what he said to me. At this time of day. Anyway, no, it's lovely to be here, and you've been absolutely amazing, and I've really enjoyed this. I've been Matt Trimble, you've been lovely, thank you and good night.